The story begins in a quiet forest, where a middle-aged man called Tajima punches a tree while training. The reason Tajima trains so hard is because he loved a superhero show called Kamen Rider in his childhood. Back then, his mom used to worry about him not eating enough, but little Tajima just wanted to watch his favorite show no matter what. Seeing her boy enjoying the show so much, Tajima's mother realized that he wouldn't feel lonely without her, and she'd leave for work without a worry. The little boy's eyes shone as he watched the screen, looking at his favorite hero punish the forces of the evil shocker with a heart full of justice. Inspired by the Kamen Rider's noble goal, Tajima decided that when he grew up, he was going to become the Kamen Rider in real life. Several years later, Tajima joins a high school. One day, his crush Emily grabs his hand and drags him out in a hurry. As she nervously looks at him, Tajima's heart beats faster, and Emily confesses her feelings for him. Feeling happy, he instantly accepts her proposal, but suddenly, Emily tells Tajima she's sorry for it. Shocked, he realizes Emily is actually pranking him in front of the entire school with a fake confession. Then, her boyfriend Kitagawa comes out and explains that Emily had lost a bet, so she was dared to fake confess to him. Instead of replying to his cruel joke, Tajima turns around and leaves, leaving everyone speechless. Watching him leave, Emily feels sad, while Tajima goes out to process his feelings near a river, remembering how kids used to play rock, paper, scissors to decide which of them became Kamen Rider. As one of the kids won, he got to become the Kamen Rider for the day. Even as a child, Tajima thought that the kids didn't know the real meaning of being a hero, since a person needs to dedicate their life to saving people instead of just playing games to decide who acts like one. His memory gets interrupted as Emily comes running towards him, apologizing for her prank. After she repeats her apology, Tajima tells her it's fine and sits down to talk with her. Emily thinks that all the other boys in her school are troublemakers, but Tajima was different from them all. In her eyes, he is a mysterious boy, never getting involved in trouble, and practicing his hero techniques all alone. As the two of them look at each other, getting even closer, a bunch of punks interrupt their romantic moment. The leader of the punks notices that Emily broke up with Kitagawa and wonders if she is trying to become Tajima's girlfriend. Thinking that Tajima is just a nerdy chump, he mocks Emily for hanging out with him and tries to force her to forcefully take her away. However, Tajima grabs his hand and twists it, which pisses him off. Angered, the punk tries to punch Tajima, but he simply blocks it. As the guy backs off, Tajima knocks him out with a single punch. Watching their leader get punked on, his lackeys try to take revenge by kicking Tajima. Somehow, he catches their kicks with his bare hands and knocks them out with 2 kicks of his own. Emily is surprised by Tajima's actions, who tells her that he just repaid the boys for their attacks, before leaving her alone. Lying on the ground, the defeated punk leader mutters Tajima's name. The next day, while Emily is walking to school, the punks suddenly jump her and take her hostage. The leader gathers all his boys at Tajima's school and threatens him to come out unless he wants Emily to get hurt. Watching the punks, Tajima's classmate whisper that Kitagawa's gang isn't around to fight them, so he goes out to confront them. Once he's outside, the leader starts screaming that he's going to take revenge on Tajima for humiliating him. Being a smart kid, Tajima points out that the punks are a bunch of chumps who think they're gangsters despite living on pocket money from their parents. As he reminds the idiot punks of their worthless place in society, they all get stunned, while Emily feels even more charmed by Tajima's maturity. Speechless, the punk leader decides to retort by attacking Tajima since he doesn't actually have a response to his word. Tajima bravely meets their attacks, but this time, the crowd of boys beats him up. After losing all his aura points, Tajima lies beaten up on the ground, while the punks drag Emily away to have their fun. Terrified, she screams for someone to help, but none of her schoolmates bother to do anything. Finally, she calls out Tajima's name, which gives him the motivation to stand back up and fight for his girl. Even the punks get frightened by Tajima's monstrous determination as he takes off his shirt and prepares to use his ultimate move. Shocked, the leader watches him reveal a strange tattoo on his belly before striking a weird pose and shouting transform. As Tajima takes his fighting stance and announces that he has transformed into Kamen Rider, all of the punks start laughing at him. Looking at his childish getup, they remind him of his grand speech about children's place in society, but suddenly, Tajima knocks the leader into space with a single punch. Soon, Emily is left staring in shock after Tajima finishes off the rest of the punks single-handedly. She silently approaches him and asks who he really is. Tajima tells her he's his Kamen Rider. However, his bloodied face scares her, and she runs away crying, leaving Tajima completely devastated. The heartbreak leaves him full of regret, and he wishes that he had never transformed. After 23 years of training and growing up alone, Tajima has finally accepted the reality that Kamen Rider and Shocker are just kids' TV show characters and will never exist. Knowing he can never become the perfect hero like the Kamen Rider, he keeps taking out his frustration by punching and kicking a thick tree. Feeling hopeless and alone, he shouts out loud, hoping that the real Shocker would appear by some miracle and take him away. His prayer gets answered by a bear, who was attracted by the noise. The poor animal doesn't realize it's messing with the legendary imaginary hero, and it roars at Tajima. As the bear charges at him, Tajima grabs it by the paw and flips it around, leaving the bear terrified. After getting flipped by the deranged homeless guy, the bear tries to attack again. The bear gets stopped by a throat chop, but manages to slash Tajima's chest. However, Tajima knocks it out with an elbow, the decades of training giving him superhuman strength. Even after defeating the bear, Tajima doesn't get a big head, since he knows at the age of 40 that heroes are just imaginary characters for children. Sometime later, he visits a warehouse and sells off all his Kamen Rider merch. Shocking the owner, Tajima feels sad about losing his precious collection, but he thinks it's better to sell it to a good store where it will be properly used, instead of getting tossed into the trash if he dies alone. Alone in his room, he downs a beer for dinner before scrolling through his phone for entertainment. Suddenly, Tajima sits up in disbelief, seeing that a news channel has reported the appearance of Shocker villains. Listening to the news, he learns that the Shockers attacked a convenience store near his house and used the traditional Shocker poses that the character from the TV show used. As the news channel shows camera footage of the villains, Tajima loses his excitement, thinking that the real Shocker would have more evil plans than just robbing some harmless supermarkets. The next day, Tajima is walking to work when he notices some shopkeepers setting up their stalls for a fireworks festival. Once he reaches his construction site, he hears his coworkers talking about the recent Shocker attacks. Tajima remains silent, thinking that there's no way that Shocker is real. Afterward, Tajima watches the news again to learn more about this gang and finds out that one of the three got arrested after he tried to mug a guy much bigger than him. The police interviewed the criminal, who confessed that screaming out the Shocker slogans gave him the mental strength to carry out illegal activities. Thinking of the guy as an idiot, Tajima later visits the fireworks festival. As he walks through the bright, cheerful stalls, he hears some children talking to their fathers. He recalls a memory of his own childhood, when his father gave a bunch of money to enjoy at the festival. Little Tajima was surprised, since his dad never gave him so much money before, and he quickly left to spend it all. However, he failed to notice that his father took one last look at him before leaving the place. As the memory fades, Tajima makes his way to a takoyaki stall and orders some food. After blowing on the hot food, he takes a bite, enjoying the festival snack. Meanwhile, in a dark area near, a gang leader called Nakao gives his thugs some Shocker masks to wear. As they accept the mask, he tells them that they're going to scare the people at the festival. One of the goons feels confused why they have to dress up and pretend to be a cartoon villain, so Nakao tells him that he always liked Shocker more than Kamen Rider. While the goons are stunned by their boss's childish desires, he tells them that they're just a bunch of minions, while he's the real monster. At his command, they pull off the Shocker poses in the festival, scaring the old takoyaki chef. The goons start attacking the poor man's stall for no reason. In that moment, Tajima turns around and can't believe that this is one of the Shocker robberies. As the stall owner tries to defend his shop, the people wonder if the Shocker gang has some beef with him. Since Tajima remains frozen in shock, the Shocker goons start to overwhelm the shopkeeper. As the poor man begs for mercy, Tajima walks up to a mask seller. He buys a mask and takes a long look. Tajima feels worried about transforming once more, but finally, he gets the courage to put on the mask and help someone in need. After putting the mask on, Tajima feels his blood roar with the power of justice, and he yells at the Shockers to stop. Nakao appears to watch the situation, while his goons walk up to Tajima, taunting him for acting tough. In response, Tajima starts shaking with emotion and declares that he's the Kamen Rider. Saying those words brings tears to Tajima's eyes, who feels like he's fulfilling his childhood fantasy. As the Shockers get confused by the weird name, the people around the stalls start recording the interaction. With tears falling from his eyes, Tajima warns them that he's serious and takes his fighting stance. While While the goons recoil from fear, Tajima roars and takes out 2 of them with vicious punches. Then, he jumps up a stall to gain some height and comes flying down on the final shocker with a powerful kick. The entire crowd goes silent from shock, while Tajima enjoys the feeling of power. However, he realizes that everyone is staring at him and quickly runs away. After the festival, news of Tajima's heroic performance spreads throughout the city. A girl called Yuriko watches the news while training in her superhero gear. Feeling upset that another superhero stole the glory from her, she decides to make this Kamen Rider pay. The next day, as Yuriko is teaching Japanese in her school, a boy called Asano steals glances at her. While she walks through the class, reading her poetry, Asano continues staring at her body. Once she finishes reading the poem, she asks him to rephrase it using modern words. However, he continues staring at her with his freaky thoughts, so Yuriko has to snap him out of it. After coming back to his senses, Asano reads out the verses from the poem, but he modifies the romantic verse at the end to make it sound like he has feelings for his teacher. Surprised, Yuriko reminds him that he didn't need to change the last part of the poem. Embarrassed at getting called out, Asano blushes like a tomato while the rest of the class laughs at him. Afterward, he goes home and hugs his pillow, still thinking about his beautiful teacher. Asano wonders what Miss Yuriko does in her free time, thinking that she has sophisticated hobbies like music or art. In reality, Yuriko is dressed up in a goofy hero costume, bench pressing some heavy weights in her gym. With every rep, she growls in anger about the mysterious Kamen Rider, who fought off a gang of shocker while just wearing a mask. Thinking about heroes, she recalls her childhood when she went crying to her dad after getting beaten up. When her dad asked her why she didn't fight back against the bullies, she cried that she couldn't fight against boys. Seeing his daughter so upset, he decided to cheer her up with a TV show. As the show started, Yuriko learned that it was called Kamen Rider. In the episode she was watching, a female character requested to fight crime with Kamen Rider. He refused, saying that women can't fight criminals, so the woman transformed into her superhero form called Tackle. The little girl's dad explains that Tackle was the first heroine in the Kamen Rider series, and she quickly got charmed by the confident character. After the episode ended, Yuriko got inspired by Tackle and tried to pull of the heroine's poses. Her dad got impressed by her performance, but he pointed out that instead of saying her full name, Tackle would shorten it to Tack whenever she introduced herself. After her dad's explanation, she tried again to perform the transformation correctly, and he gave her a perfect score. One day, Yuriko was practicing Tackle's throwing moves with her toy, but she threw it onto a shelf by accident, which knocked off some cassettes. After calming down, she realized that the cassettes had a Kamen Rider episode she hadn't watched, so she plugged it into the TV. When the episode started, Yuriko noticed that it was called Tackle's Final Battle. As the episode went on, Yuriko got more and more horrified as the powerful villain defeated Tackle. With no other option, Tackle used Ultra Cyclone, a powerful move that sacrificed her life to defeat the villain. Seeing her favorite hero die in the show, Yuriko starts bawling, completely heartbroken from the loss. While shedding tears, she collapses on her side, feeling like she's drowning helplessly. When her dad comes home, he finds his daughter collapsed in a pool of her own tears. After he takes her to rest in bed, she asks him why her favorite heroine had to die. Yuriko wonders why the Kamen Rider didn't appear to save Tackle, so her dad explains that the villain was too powerful. So Tackle sacrificed her life in order to save Kamen Rider. After learning that Tackle actually saved Kamen Rider, Yuriko feels a bit better. Then, her father reveals that he gave her the same name as Tackle because he was inspired by the heroine's courage to keep fighting until the very end. This news cheered up Yuriko, but her dad wasn't done just yet, saying that Tackle was still alive. He gifted her a costume so she could keep her legacy going. Completely stunned, Yuriko stared at her father, but he confirmed that she is Tackle in the real world. With the confidence from her father, she decided to become a heroine in real life and kept training until she became strong enough. In the present, Yuriko gets lost in her thoughts and writes down her frustrations about Tajima on the class blackboard, leaving her students completely confused. Later at night, Nekao plans another robbery with his shocker thugs. All of the thugs feel worried that they'll be caught if they keep going, so Nekao reveals that he'll be joining them on the mission this time. Worried about his boss, one of the goons tells Nekao to remain hidden, but he reassures them that he knows how to fight. Tired of watching them from the sidelines, Nekao announces that he's going to go out and act like the monsters he likes. Meanwhile, Asano confesses his feelings to Yuriko nearby. While she listens in shock, Asano continues continues telling her about his feelings, completely unafraid despite the difference in their age. As Yuriko wonders how to respond to her students' feelings, the Shocker gang robs a nearby store. After getting the cash from one store, they move on to their next target, while the police rush to catch them. Yuriko notices the police trying to catch the Shockers, and she wonders if she should accept Asano's feelings or help the police take the goons down. As one of the policemen gets close to the gang, Nekao steps up and takes him out with a single punch. The Shocker gang starts running after taking down all of the police, and Yuriko feels upset that her target is escaping. Finally, she decides to chase after them and leaves Asano behind, who starts following her. Somewhere else, Tajima is reading the news about his own heroic feat when he hears the Shockers attacking a store nearby. He stops in his tracks and glares at the Shocker robbers, who turn around to look at him. As Tajima gets ready for a fight, the Shockers get confused since they don't even know who he is. He realizes that they haven't seen him without a mask, so after some digging in his bag, Tajima puts on the Kamen Rider mask and announces his presence. As the Shockers watch in shock, Tajima starts crying from joy once again and tells them that he's been looking all over for them. Meanwhile, Yuriko runs over at max speed. After reaching the Shockers, she finds Tajima confronting them. This angers her and gets mad at him for trying to steal her glory again. As Asano tries getting her attention, she keeps ignoring him while Tajima takes his fighting stance, ready for a showdown. This time, Yuriko doesn't want him to steal the show, so she immediately takes off her clothes and starts searching for her superhero outfit in front of her student. Once Yuriko finishes putting on the tackle outfit, she asks Asano if he still likes her after seeing her weird side. While the boy keeps gaping in shock, she gives him her handbag to hold and leaves. As Tajima gets ready to unleash his power, Yuriko charges at him out of nowhere and sends him flying with a punch. Even the Shockers get scared as the Kamen Rider tumbles on the ground, and Yuriko announces herself as the superhero Tackle. The Shockers don't even know who Tackle is since they didn't watch the show, but this doesn't discourage her. On the ground, Tajima recognizes Tackle. At that moment, one of the Shockers approaches Yuriko, saying that her chest grew up before her childish brain. However, she grabs him and throws him at his teammates, knocking them all down. Watching his teacher's display of strength, Asano is impressed. While the crowd starts taking pictures, having disposed of the villains, Yuriko goes back to Asano to get her bag back. He starts stuttering, but Yuriko silences him before he can speak. After thanking him for protecting her bag, she asks him to keep her superhero powers a secret before running away from the crowd. Meanwhile, behind Tajima, the Shockers get up, and Nakao takes off his mask. He tells Tajima that he'll avenge his loss, but Tajima reminds him that he got beaten up by Tackle as well. At his reminder, Nakao goes silent before saying that he likes Shocker more than Kamen Rider. After he leaves with his minions, Tajima looks at Yuriko, wondering who she is. Seeing her passion for Tackle, he wonders if she loves her heroine even more than he loves Kamen Rider. The next day at school, Yuriko starts beaming with joy as she reads a news article about her. Nearby, one of the teachers wonders if anything is wrong, so she awkwardly plays it off. Somewhere else, Nakao is sitting with his Shocker goons in his house, looking at a weird mask. One of them asks about it, so he explains that he got the mask from a sale and transformed it to look like Shocker. After putting on the mask, he declares that he has become the Yakuza boss, leaving his subordinates speechless. Nakao thinks that since there are real superheroes out there, it's his job to give them some good competition as the main villain. Knowing that their boss is in the mood for more crimes, the goons get worried about their future. However, they helplessly accept his plans and leave to rob another helpless supermarket. At the supermarket, a live streamer stands in front of the camera, explaining to his viewers that he's going to buy 100,000 yen worth of snacks. Once the stream is ready, he starts taking all the snacks out of a single shelf and fills up all of his bags. As the streamer finishes, the Shocker gang enters the store and announces their presence with their strange salute. Everyone inside starts panicking, and one of the Shockers knocks a man away from the cash register. Then, Nakao threatens the clerk to empty all the cash registers, but she starts acting like she's getting assaulted. While the lady screams in terror, the streamer watches the robbery from a distance. He takes out his phone and starts recording Nakao, thinking that his stream will instantly go viral. Meanwhile, one of the Shockers comes behind him and wonders what he's going to do with all those snacks he's got. When the streamer reveals that he's going to eat them all, the goon tells him he'll get fat, but the streamer points out that he's already fat anyway. While the goon laughs at his pathetic joke, the streamer streamer looks at his phone, overjoyed to see that the views are skyrocketing from all the attention. Soon, Tajima sees the live stream and learns about the robbery from the news, so he rushes to the supermarket. Noticing that Yuriko is also running to the store, he finds her familiar, but neither of them recognizes the other without their masks. Back in the store, one man grabs Nakao's arm, annoyed by his disturbance. Watching the confrontation, the streamer gets excited to see some spicy drama. Nakao asks the man what he wants, who tells him to stop the robbery. At his warnings, one of Nakao's goons butts in to intimidate the man, and he immediately goes silent. Suddenly, the strange man makes a weird noise and transforms with his costume right in front of them. They watch, stunned as they recognize the man's outfit. Even the streamer is left speechless, and Tajima and Yuriko realize that this mysterious man is dressed up in an authentic Shocker costume. Shocker scoffs at Nakao, saying that he's going to show them some real villainy instead of petty street crimes. Outside, both wannabe superheroes arrive at the store at the same time. Tajima notices Yuriko behind him and gets down to transform with his mask. Once he's turned into the Kamen Rider, Yuriko immediately recognizes him and calls him a phony pretending to be a hero with just a cheap mask. She changes into her entire tackle costume right in front of him, saying that he can't act like a hero without the right clothes. After she finishes dressing up, Tajima also recognizes her, as Yuriko accuses him of play pretending. He reminds her that she's also a grown woman dressed in a ladybug costume. However, she remains completely unashamed of her ridiculous outfit, so Tajima also thinks his mask looks fine. Suddenly, the store windows behind them burst open as Shocker punches Nakao's goons through them. Watching the scene, the streamer thinks he's gonna become a millionaire off the insane amount of views, but suddenly, a hand covers his mouth and pulls him away. Nearby, Nakao trembles in fear as his subordinates lie unconscious. He turns around and looks at the Shocker villain, and asks if he belongs to the real criminal organization. After getting closer to the Shocker, Nakao repeats his question, so the man confirms that he's from the real Shocker organization. Delighted to see his childhood hero, Nakao, collapse to the floor, but the Shocker kicks him into the building's roof. As Nakao falls down from the roof, Tajima starts crying tears of joy at finally meeting a real villain. Knowing he can't be friends with the villain, Tajima gets ready to fight, thinking that the Shocker will give him a good fight. He charges in and punches Shocker, who blocks it and gets knocked back. After getting over his surprise, the Shocker retaliates with a punch that sends Tajima flying back. Yuriko feels worried for him. Tajima gets back up to fight. He begins using another attack, but Yuriko knocks him up, saying it's her turn next. She announces that she's continuing Tackle's legacy before running to the villain and dodging his attack. Yuriko gets the Shocker with a kick and avoids his counterattack. Then, she grabs him from behind and suplexes him to the ground. Tajima sees this and doesn't want to miss the opportunity, so he jumps into the air and comes down with a rider kick. As their combined efforts knock the Shocker out cold, the heroes feel disbelief that they actually won. Yuriko starts yelling at Tajima for getting involved in the dangerous battle, but suddenly, the store lights go out. Behind them, a strange man appears and throws down a heavy bag, which dissolves into some strange mush. Suddenly, the man's face transforms into a horrifying beast's mouth, out of which he shoots a strange dart at the Shocker. The dart dissolves the Shocker's body, and the man loses his strange aura. He thinks about stomping Nakao, but decides to leave him alive since it could cause trouble later. After the strange man leaves, both Yuriko and Tajima realize that Shocker is a real secret crime organization, not just some guy pretending to be a villain. Sometime later, they head to a cafe to get to know each other better. When Yuriko learns that Tajima is actually 40 years old, she wonders why he still goes around acting like a kid. Unaffected by her criticism, he passionately declares that he loves Kamen Rider more than any child can, which leaves her speechless. Then, as Yuriko remembers what just happened, Tajima also feels shocked that Shocker is real. He recalls that the guy they fought was just a low-ranked combatant, while the strange man must have been a high-ranked monster. Despite knowing it's true, Yuriko refuses to accept the disturbing reality. She thinks that they should stay out of such dangerous business. So Tajima asks her if she'd be okay with letting villains run around while calling herself the hero Tackle. Suddenly, the cafe manager appears and asks them if they met the real Shocker. After introducing himself as Mitsuba, the manager shows them the camera footage of their fight. Both heroes feel wary of the mysterious man, but he says that he simply heard everything from their conversation. Mitsuba explains that when Tajima and Yuriko entered the cafe in their hero outfits. He immediately realized that they were the real deal. Yuriko reminds him that they're not cosplayers, and he nods, saying that he has some useful information for them. As both heroes feel curious, he confirms that Shocker is indeed real. Mitsuba reveals that he has seen Shocker in action, so Yuriko asks him where he saw them. When he says that it's going to take him 3 business days to explain the whole story, Tajima gets excited about the Shocker lore, while Yuriko thinks she should head home. Ignoring her discomfort, Mitsuba starts telling them about his childhood. Nearby, a waiter girl watches their table silently with a displeased look on her face. Meanwhile, Mitsuba narrates that he used to walk by a garden house with his brother on their walk to school. One day, the owner of the house came out of some shrubbery and asked the 2 brothers if they wanted to try some tomatoes. Scared at first, the brothers eventually tried the tomatoes and found them delicious, seeing how happy the veggies made them. The man invited the boys to visit him again for more snacks. Afterward, as he was tending to his garden, the society officials informed the man that his neighbors were complaining about his plants and trees attracting bugs to their homes. Suddenly, the officials got scared by some bees and ran away. Afterward, Mitsuba and his brother came to visit, and the owner offered them some watermelon. The kids happily accepted his offer, but sometime later, they found some hooligans harassing the homeowner. As they threatened to burn his house down if he didn't cut his plants, the man remained silent before going inside. After coming back, he offered them some fresh tomatoes, and they initially refused, thinking that they don't like vegetables. The man offered them some fruit, which one of the hooligans finally accepted. After taking a bite of the fruit, the man instantly fell in love with it, and both of them started gorging themselves on the generous owner's produce. Bored with the long story, Yuriko interrupts and asks Mitsuba when the Shocker part is even going to start. He tells her to keep waiting, since a good story needs some world building. Then, Mitsuba resumes his story, explaining that after finishing the fruit, one of the thugs punched the homeowner. While they both pretended to bully the owner, one of them whispered that he was paid to threaten him. As payback for the fruit, he told the owner that his neighbors want him gone. As the thugs discussed their future plans, the homeowner got up and declared that he was going to burn down the neighborhood. Suddenly, he transformed into a Shocker, and one of them immediately attacked him. However, the Shocker easily blocked the attack and knocked him and his friend out. Nearby, Mitsuba and his brother struggled to hide behind a tree, and the owner went into his house without noticing them. Getting a chance to breathe, the boys quickly went out, wondering what to do with these 2 men. Suddenly, the entire house burst into flames, so they quickly ran up to the unconscious men. Terrified of the fire, Mitsuba's older brother bravely woke up both men and escaped. After finishing his story, Mitsuba explains that he began searching for the Shockers after this incident. However, before he can explain what he found during his search, his girlfriend interrupts their chat. Mitsuba gets up to follow her, but quietly explains to Yuriko that his girlfriend is just jealous of her. Before leaving, he reveals that Shocker has already taken a deep root within their society. Once Mitsuba is gone, Tajima asks Yuriko how she feels about Shocker, as he declares that he's itching to fight the criminals. She also agrees that she'll fight as Tackle. With her support, Tajima feels determined to fight as Kamen Rider, but suddenly feels awkward. He wonders if Yuriko is interested in a deeper relationship, but she quickly denies it. As she gets up to leave, Tajima feels heartbroken and desperately asks for her number so they can at least discuss their plans for fighting villains. Feeling overwhelmed, she agrees to exchange numbers with him. Nearby, Mitsuba tries comforting his girlfriend called Yukarisu. She asks him if he truly loves her, and he nods, so she gets happy again and leaves the room. Watching her leave, Mitsuba thinks that he needs to protect his girlfriend from Shocker, while Yukarisu's expression changes into something sinister. The next day, Yuriko is teaching her class again as Asano watches her write on the board while she continues yapping. Asano starts getting freaky thoughts about his teacher's skimpy outfit, wondering if it was all a dream. Thinking he can blackmail her with her secret identity, Asano imagines forcing his teacher to do all sorts of illegal things with him. In his passionate fantasies, he forgets that he's still in class and yells in excitement. Realizing what he's just done, Asano blushes in embarrassment while the rest of the class laughs at him. Despite the embarrassing moment, he decides to test Yuriko's feelings after class. As Asano walks up to the gym storage, he hears his teacher's voice coming from inside. Curious, he gets close to the door and finds her holding someone's hand. Yuriko asks the girl to let her go, but the girl wonders why she isn't curious about being called to the storage room. The girl takes off Yuriko's glasses and says knows that she might be in love with her. Watching the steamy scene, Asano gets excited. As she takes off her glasses, the girl's sweet voice grows cold as she complains that nobody knows a weirdo like her. She asks Yuriko if she even knows which class she's in, then reveals herself as Mitsuba's girlfriend, Yukarisu. Yuriko is confused why the girl from the restaurant is interested in her, while Yukarisu asks her if she's dating Mitsuba. Yukarisu says that her boyfriend is interested in her because he loves Kamen Rider and the Shocker. She mentions that Mitsuba has devoted his entire life to proving that Shocker is real. However, even though he's a weirdo, he gets a lot of attention because of his good looks. Yukarisu proudly tells Yuriko that if a girl talks to her beloved boyfriend, she beats them up to drive them away. Shocked, Yuriko reminds the girl that she has just confessed to a crime, but Yukarisu claims that she loves her boyfriend too much, even when he annoys her by yapping about his weird interests. Yuriko tells her that she isn't interested in her love life, but Yukarisu starts laughing maniacally. As Yuriko begins leaving, the girl mentions that her boyfriend doesn't even know that his own girlfriend is from Shocker. Stunned, Yuriko turns around as Yukarisu changes into her Shocker uniform. While Yuriko stares at the Shocker in front of her, Asano gets so frightened that he screams while backing off from the door. Both women notice his scream. Turning to look at the door, Yukarisu immediately opens the door, making a mental note to quietly kill him. Behind her, Yuriko changes into her own tackle outfit and asks the villain if she's confident she can succeed. Seeing the costume, Yukarisu laughs and mocks Yuriko, saying it'll take more than just changing clothes to defeat her. In response, Yuriko calmly kicks her square in the jaw, knocking her into some old equipment in front. Yuriko calmly declares that she can defeat the Shocker with Tackle's powers and asks Asano to go home. Meanwhile, Yukarisu gets up with a bloody nose, offended that she got humbled by a human. As Yuriko reminds her that her lover Mitsuba is also a human, Yukarisu claims that he's special and jumps to attack. Yuriko barely dodges her attack, which punches through solid metal. Turning around, Yukarisu attacks once again, but Yuriko blocks her punch with a kick. The punch still forces her back into some sports equipment, so Yukarisu takes this chance to land the finishing blow. Her punch barely lands on Yuriko's face, but she ducks her head to absorb the force while kicking Yukarisu's foot off the ground. As she screams at the Shocker that she messed with the wrong opponent, Yuriko brings her down in a powerful throw. Meanwhile, Tajima is working out in his room when he receives a message on his phone. He quickly rushes over to check and wonders why Yuriko suddenly needs his help. Sometime later, he meets Mitsuba along with Yuriko in a parking lot. Mitsuba wonders why the two heroes called him so urgently, so Tajima shows him his unconscious girlfriend. After learning that Yukarisu is actually a Shocker, Mitsuba almost passes out from shock. They take the girl to a park, where Yuriko wonders why Mitsuba never noticed the signs. He feels awful that his own girlfriend is his and his brother's arch nemesis, which confuses Tajima. Mitsuba explains that he had another strange encounter with Shockers in his childhood. Mitsuba reveals that the summer after the fruit garden incident, he and his brother were staying at his grandpa's house when they got attacked by a couple of thieves. The thief coldly knocked out their grandfather and started snooping around the house to steal some items. His disgusting actions sent Mitsuba's older brother into a rage, so out of nowhere, he punished the thief with a kick to the face. Young Mitsuba got worried for his older brother, but he kept pummeling the man. After another kick, the boy flew up into the air before spinning around for a powerful attack. His next kick knocked the wind out of the man's lungs, sending him crashing into a wall. However, the angry boy wasn't done yet. As he rushed in for another attack, the man finally got tired of being humiliated by a kid. Suddenly, he transformed into his Shocker uniform, which scared both of the brothers. Despite his fear, Mitsuba's brother tried to fight the thief, but this time he easily shrugged off his attacks before knocking him out with a punch. Afterward, the thief tied up the boys and their grandpa while ransacking their house for valuables. While the thief's fat wife ate and drank their food, he proudly boasted about appearing on the news for his crimes. The woman asks him how he'd deal with the backlash from the Shocker since he married a human. He smirked, saying that they'd just be the Bonnie and Clyde of their world. As his wife smiled in agreement, suddenly, Mitsuba's gigantic farmer grandma came home. As the grandma asked who these people were, Mitsuba's brother, Ikio, quickly snitched on them. While the Shocker started panicking, the grandma raised her rake in anger and brought it down on his shoulder. After giving the man a lifetime shoulder injury, Grandma untied her husband. Once he was free, she left the kids to him before heading back towards the the intruders, Grandma ruthlessly dragged the man away by his shoulder. To free himself, the man transformed into his shocker form, which surprised Grandma. Back in the main room, Ikkyo asked his grandpa to help their grandma, but he felt confident that she could easily deal with those pesky robbers. However, they heard Grandma's pained scream and quickly rushed to help her. When the three of them finally stepped outside, they saw a horrifying sight. The two thieves were lying dead on the ground, while a disturbing monster helped up Grandma, impaled on its claw. Seeing his beloved wife slain so mercilessly, Grandpa flew into a rage and blindly charged at the monster with tears in his eyes. The two boys screamed in horror as their grandpa approached the cold monster, which turned around and ended their grandpa's life with just a swipe of its claw. As the two boys stared in horror, the monster complained about his shocker lackey causing so much trouble for him. It noticed the little boys staring at it but decided to spare them and flies away. As the story ends, Mitsuba says that the monster that took away his grandparents was an inhumanoid. Suddenly, a strange man calls out to their group from behind. As the two heroes look behind them, they find Ikkyo staring at them. Mitsuba introduces his brother, saying he wanted them to meet him. However, he suddenly remembers that his girlfriend is also a shocker, so Ikkyo will immediately turn his relationship status to single if he finds out. Unfortunately, it's already too late. As Ikkyo jumps up for his signature hurricane kick after a powerful landing, he asks the two heroes for their identities, and Tajima instantly tells him that he's the guy who fought a shocker. At the mention of shockers, Ikkyo loses his cool, surprising everyone. Tajima decides to enlighten him by transforming into Kamen Rider in front of everyone. Ikkyo stares at him in shock and laughs. Ikkyo asks Tajima who the strongest Kamen Rider is. He thinks about it before responding that it's himself. However, Ikkyo interrupts and claims that V3 is actually the strongest Kamen Rider. Tajima is surprised by Ikkyo's conviction, but he refuses to accept someone else as stronger than him. He challenges Ikkyo to a fight, leaving everyone completely stunned. Ikkyo is completely unfazed by Tajima's words, saying that he doesn't need a mask to prove that he's a real Kamen Rider. He strikes a signature pose and asks Tajima if he's ever seen V3, which sends an image of the legendary hero to his head. While Tajima gawks at Ikkyo, the other two are confused by what he's seeing. Meanwhile, Ikkyo declares that after losing both his grandparents, he gave up his humanity and turned into a demon seeking revenge. After transforming into a demon, he became the most powerful Kamen Rider, V3, to seek his revenge. Tajima smiles, thinking that a showdown between the first rider and V3 will be an exciting match. However, Ikkyo thinks that Tajima isn't qualified to fight him and tells him to bring it on. Yuriko tries to stop them from fighting, but Tajima charges in before she can do anything. He unleashes a rider punch at Ikkyo, who effortlessly avoids it while remaining in the same spot. As Tajima falls to the ground from his own momentum, Yuriko is amazed by Ikkyo's skill. Ikkyo reminds Tajima that V3 is the rider who has the powers of both Rider 1 and Rider 2, so he's stronger than both of them combined. He seriously tells Tajima that he didn't just take the V3 name, but he learnt various martial arts to truly become the hero he admires. Ikkyo also notes that Tajima's fighting style is self-taught, which makes his technique terrible. As he tells Tajima that he's no match for him, Yuriko steps up, somehow already changed into her tackle outfit. When Ikkyo looks back at her, she begins posing to introduce herself. However, Tajima interrupts her mid-pose, screaming at her to stay out of his fight. Even Ikkyo is shocked by Tajima's determination, and Yuriko awkwardly gives up. She apologizes for losing control and starts shamelessly changing clothes again right in front of Ikkyo. After leaving the poor man traumatized from her public indecency, Yuriko steps aside to let the boys finish their fight. While Ikkyo is distracted, Tajima takes the chance to attack him. His punch catches Ikkyo off guard, pushing him back by a great distance. After reminding him to focus on their fight, Tajima starts charging with another punch, but Ikkyo feels insulted that he's using the same technique on him again. He avoids the attack and hits Tajima, but Tajima actually gets him with a gut punch this time. As Tajima continues his relentless assault, Ikkyo flies up to avoid him and comes shooting down for a counterattack. He launches a corkscrew V3 kick, which Tajima blocks with his arms. The kick sends a burst of energy to their surroundings, but despite all that power, Tajima shocks everyone by completely stopping it. Noticing Tajima's intense stare, Ikkyo retreats, finally realizing that his passion for Kamen Rider is also real. This realization gives Ikkyo more fuel to continue continue fighting, but Yukarisu wakes up from all the noise. Both Yuriko and Mitsuba realize they're screwed when Ikkyo's gaze falls on her shocker belt. As the girl watches in confusion, Ikkyo starts charging towards her. She screams in absolute terror as Ikkyo unleashes a full-force punch at her face, but Mitsuba unexpectedly catches it between his arms. He tells Ikkyo to back off, who asks why he's protecting a shocker. Mitsuba calmly tells him that even though she's a shocker, Yukarisu is still his girlfriend. Sitting on the bench, Yukarisu realizes that she completely screwed up by exposing her identity. Meanwhile, a cold aura starts gathering around Ikkyo as he furiously asks his brother to repeat what he just said. Frozen in terror, Mitsuba remains silent, while Ikkyo orders him again to repeat himself. Finally, Mitsuba musters the courage to speak and declares that even though Yukarisu is a shocker, she's still his girlfriend. Hearing him boldly declare his love for her without hesitation, Yukarisu gets emotional and stands up. In front of everyone, she gets closer to Mitsuba and asks him to repeat his confession. Her shiny eyes are too much for Mitsuba to refuse, so he collects his thoughts and prepares to repeat it. One last time, Mitsuba tells his brother that he'll protect his girlfriend even if she's a shocker, and Yukarisu gets emotional. She thanks Mitsuba for his love before telling him that she loves him. After saying that, Yukarisu kisses Mitsuba right in front of everyone and pulls back. Mitsuba stares at his girlfriend in surprise, but she loses her loving tone and grows sad. Yukarisu reveals that since she has been exposed, she has no choice but to complete her mission as a shocker. It turns out that she was sent by the shockers to monitor anyone who knows about their secrets. However, if she found out that her target had any accomplices, it was her job to alert the rest of the shockers and have them killed. With this firm declaration, Yukarisu quickly contacts all of the other shockers in their area. As the henchmen receive her message, they quickly abandon their disguises and rush over to the park. With no time to deal with his girlfriend's betrayal, Mitsuba watches as a crowd of shockers surrounds their group. Yukarisu continues shedding tears, saying that even though she loves him, she has no choice but to end his life. Surrounded by the shockers, the group waits tensely. Yukarisu apologizes to Mitsuba for her betrayal, but suddenly, the shockers leap to attack them. As the enemy gets closer, the heroes remain frozen in shock. Suddenly, Ikkyo kicks the lights out of the first shocker. Then, Tajima also attacks, taking out another schmuck, and Yuriko takes the liberty of changing into her tackle outfit before thrashing another one. As the heroes start pummeling the low-level grunts, Yukara screams in fear as she realizes she just did a massive screw-up. Ikkyo turns one guy's head into mush with a hammer kick, while Yuriko raises another guy into the air. He thinks he's going to heaven, and she fulfills his wish by slamming him full force into the ground. Then, Tajima plants his boot in the last guy's face, sending him crashing down. Watching her teammates get absolutely wrecked, Yukarisu wonders why the shockers lost to mere humans. Noticing her still standing, Ikkyo prepares to take her down, but Mitsuba stops him. Ikkyo asks him if he wants to get married to Yukarisu, which leaves everyone stunned. Mitsuba wonders why he suddenly brought up marriage, but Ikkyo says that if a man and woman like each other, they are naturally supposed to get married. Yuriko thinks he's going too far, but Tajima also thinks that Ikkyo is right. Mitsuba asks him if he can just have a middle ground relationship with Yukarisu, but Ikkyo refuses to tolerate his pathetic ideas. As he lays out the two options, get married or leave the girl, Mitsuba struggles to make his decision. After looking around for a bit, Mitsuba still tries to weasel his way out of it, but Ikkyo punches him to the ground. As he forces him to choose, suddenly the strange monster from the supermarket appears behind them. Shocked to see him, Tajima quickly tells Ikkyo that this man is a monster from the shockers. Shocked, Ikkyo asks if the man truly is a monster, but the man feels annoyed by his loud voice. Mitsuba asks Yukarisu if the monster is her boss, and she nods. Meanwhile, Ikkyo asks the man to confirm his identity, but he refuses to answer, only saying that his loud voice is annoying. Then, the man tells Ikkyo that he doesn't cause as much trouble as he does, so he responds by punching him in the face. In front of everyone, Ikkyo tears open the monster's lips, revealing his true, hideous face. Ikkyo freezes in shock, and the monster punches at him. He blocks the first hit, but the monster quickly swipes again and sends him flying through the air. He manages to regain his footing after a struggle. He smiles, feeling satisfied that he exposed the monster's true face. Nearby, Mitsuba tells Yukarisu he'll protect her before running away somewhere. As she watches him leave, she wonders why he's protecting her even though she's a shocker. Meanwhile, Ikkyo Ikio performs his Kamen Rider transformation to fight the monster seriously. However, Tajima and Yuriko say that they want a turn too, so all three of them start arguing about who gets to go first. Watching them fight like a bunch of kids, the monster laughs. Angered by its mocking laugh, Ikio rushes towards the monster before flying up. He unleashes his most powerful sonic kick, and the monster effortlessly catches it with a single hand. Then, he raises Ikio into the air before bringing him down for a horrible crash into the ground. Luckily, Tajima appears behind Ikio to catch him, taking advantage of the distraction. Yuriko tries to throw the monster, but it easily throws her back instead. However, Tajima punches the monster square in the gut, which makes it spit from the shock. After recovering from his blow, the creature knocks Tajima into a wall. Then, Ikio comes flying from behind and pummels it with a barrage of kicks, before giving it a powerful smack on the face. Suddenly, the monster's human face gets completely ripped off, leaving everyone shocked as they stare at it. The monster's true form finally appears in front of the heroes, a vicious, fanged alien with creepy insectoid eyes. Seeing her boss in all his glory, Yukarisu trembles in fear, while the monster challenges Ikio to attack again. As Ikio trembles in fear, the creature raises his hand to attack, warning that he'll chop his head off. It unleashes a terrifying punch at Ikio, who instantly jumps back to save his life. The destructive force of the monster's punch leaves a crater in the ground, stunning everyone. However, it refuses to let Ikio go and jumps at him to finish him off. As his impending doom approaches, Ikio closes his eyes, but suddenly, a metal cable restrains the monster. Soon, more coils of rope wrap around the monster and pull him back, so everyone turns around to see who did it. They find Mitsuba standing there with a Kamen Rider mask on his face. Yukarisu wonders if it's really him. When Mitsuba nods, Tajima watches in shock, realizing that he has transformed into Riderman from Season 4 of Kamen Rider. Yukarisu points out that Mitsuba just changed clothes, but he corrects her, saying he actually transformed. Mitsuba shoots the full coil of rope from his rope launcher, restraining the monster completely. With the monster bound, he tells everyone to escape as soon as possible. Knowing they're outmatched, the heroes get up to leave, but suddenly, Yukarisu asks Mitsuba why he decided to become a Kamen Rider. As he realizes she's interested in his backstory, Mitsuba stops everyone to yap about it despite the life-threatening monster being 5 meters away from them. Mitsuba recalls watching Kamen Rider with his brother, where V3 lost his entire family to the Shockers. As he fought against the villains, V3 got severely injured during a battle. Because he had lost his ability to fight, V3 asked Kamen Riders 1 and 2 to turn him into a cyborg so he could continue fighting. Because V3's backstory resonated with their own, the two boys got inspired by him and decided to take him as their role model. However, Ikio never let Mitsuba act as V3 when they played, dominating him as the older brother. Seeing his brother so passionate about V3, Ikio told him that if he wanted to transform, he needed to beat him in a fight. Thinking he just got a golden chance, Mitsuba instantly attacked him. However, Ikio easily punched him down and walked away, leaving the young boy frustrated. Despite his humiliating loss, Mitsuba never gave up and continued challenging his brother, even as the years went by. Several years later, as both of them had grown up, Mitsuba reminded his brother of his promise. Ikio accepted his challenge once again and lunged to attack. He bombarded Mitsuba with a barrage of punches, but that time, he actually managed to catch his fist. Then, Mitsuba kicked his brother away, surprising him with his Aikido technique. The battle continued for hours, as both brothers fought evenly, exchanging blows with each other. As it was getting late, neither of the two could defeat the other. Panting with exhaustion, Mitsuba begged Ikio to let him be V3 as well. However, Ikio wiped his nose, saying that only the person with the strongest belief in V3 deserved to be him. He proudly announced that he was the person who loved V3 the most, so Mitsuba could only become Riderman. Suddenly, Ikio raised his hand to break Mitsuba's right arm. As Mitsuba flinched, Ikio stopped his attack, considering his brother's feelings. However, he just broke his left arm instead, which left the poor boy in a sling. Once they went back home, Mitsuba wondered why Ikio was so proud of breaking his left arm. After giving him the Riderman mask, Ikio asked him if he understood why, but Mitsuba still couldn't figure it out. Then, Ikio explained that Mitsuba is the younger brother, so it makes sense for him to be Riderman, who is V3's partner. In the show, Riderman was a talented scientist, but his boss got jealous of him and dissolved his right arm in acid. However, another group of scientists admired Riderman's talent, so so they arranged a surgery for him to install a rope launcher on his arm. Although Mitsuba finally understood Ikkyo's reasoning, he wondered why he had broken his left arm. Ikkyo explained that he was actually being kind to him by breaking his left arm because Mitsuba was naturally right-handed. As Ikkyo told Mitsuba, he had truly become Riderman in reality. He shed tears in emotion. To thank his brother for his dumb kindness, Mitsuba returned the favor by punching him with his right arm. In the present, Mitsuba has finally finished the story, and Yukarisu asks him if he was alright with being Riderman instead of V3. He reveals that although he didn't like being Riderman at first, he fell in love with the character because Riderman was just a normal human. Instead of having cyborg attachments that increased his powers, Riderman used his knowledge and rope launcher to perform heroic acts on par with the rest of the Kamen Riders. Tajima wonders if Mitsuba designed his rope launcher himself, and he nods. However, he reminds everyone that they need to escape the area, but all of them hesitate for a bit, watching them all linger. Even the monster man gets confused. As they start running away, the creature uses his telepathy to order Yukarisu to kill Mitsuba. Yukarisu freezes after hearing her boss's order. Mitsuba turns back toward her, and Yukarisu hesitates for a moment before her mind suddenly goes blank. Suddenly, she punches Mitsuba to the ground, and the rest of the heroes stop to see what happened. On the ground, Mitsuba is shocked to see his lover betray him again, but she mounts him and mercilessly starts punching his face. Watching the shocker turn on their friend, the other heroes rush to help. However, Mitsuba stops them, saying he'll settle the problem with his girlfriend himself. Mitsuba grabs Yukarisu's hands to stop her, but she struggles free and launches a powerful punch at him. Seeing that he's got no choice, suddenly, Mitsuba declares his undying love for her, which stops her immediately. While Yukarisu struggles with her emotions, Mitsuba apologizes to her for being unable to make his choice in front of his brother. Feeling guilty for his weakness, Mitsuba tells her that he loves her, even if she's a shocker, even under her boss's control. Yukarisu hesitates because of Mitsuba's passionate words. Suddenly, he drops a bomb by declaring that he's going to marry her. While Yukarisu stares in shock, the rest of the heroes are also stunned by his bold proposal. Finally, Yukarisu's feelings of love completely overpower her boss's orders, and she breaks free from the mind control. Tearing up from emotion, she screams in joy and hugs Mitsuba, saying that she loves him as well, while Yukarisu completely loses control and starts showing shameless affection in public. Spider-Man begins to struggle against his restraints. A dark aura suddenly surrounds the monster, and somehow, it breaks free from the reinforced cables that were strong enough to hold back literal tanks. Enraged to the extreme, the monster unleashes its full power, transforming its body into a muscular and hairy form. As the final form beast stares down the heroes, they all instantly react with pure excitement, overjoyed to witness a real humanoid monster standing before them. That was episode 5. Subscribe to not miss the next part and watch the next video on screen.